Okay, I think I've calmed down. Oh my god. Alright. Man, I don't even think I ranked the video in the last one. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I think everyone can tell where I ranked it. Anyways, let's talk about the last DLC that, I need to talk about until a new one comes out. And we're talking about probably the best DLC. Alright, so basically we're talking about Psycho Krieg and the fantastic Fustercluck. And the first thing I gotta mention before we go anywhere, this DLC came out in September 10th, 2020. And if you don't know, this was in the pandemic. So I don't know when officially they were working on it. Maybe it's the start of 2020 when they had the plan, and then around this time is when, they had to work around the pandemic. So there are a lot of factors that did hurt this game or this DLC. But you know what? I actually have to give them a lot of credit. I think that this is the most polished DLC when it comes to that, because there's really only one thing that gets hurt by this DLC, which is the side activities. That's it. That's really it. Everything else is kind of fucking wonderful. I actually think that there's a lot of fun in this DLC that I liked. But we'll get to that in a bit. Basically, for the plot of the DLC is that after studying psychos for most of her life, Tannis has basically decided, you know what? I think I figured out what goes on in their head, and we're gonna go into a psycho's head to find what is known as Valhalla. And we have a perfectly good psycho named Krieg. Okay. Quick question. How did you get Krieg to sign up for this? I mean, Krieg was nowhere in the entire game. Apparently, he went into a cave. But whatever. Apparently, we now need to go into Krieg's mind, and basically that's when we learn that there's more to Krieg, which we already knew, because if you're a fan of Borderlands 2. But basically, I like that this DLC is breaking down Krieg's story. We're getting a lot of things that are important to the DLC, from the fact of Krieg getting accepted as a Crimson Raider, Krieg becoming or basically coming to terms with Maya, and then basically learning about Krieg's origin. From the fact of finally learning how much Krieg actually needed, Psycho Krieg. Because that's one thing also I want to mention about this DLC. You get two Kriegs in this one, Sane and Psycho. And it's really nice to finally hear Sane Krieg. Now, let me say this. For those who played Borderlands 2, yes, Sane Krieg existed, but he was really faint. So, unless you were I think you had to wear headphones to hear Sane Krieg. I'm not 100% because I never really had my TV up that loud, but he wasn't that often there. Where, at least in this DLC, you can see the difference now. You can see what they were saying. And hell, half the time we could understand what Krieg was saying, and we're talking about Psycho Krieg, which tells me probably how much we're into this series now. But even still, this is probably the best thing about the DLC, is that, yes, these two characters return and we get more about the characters. Other characters return also, like Lilith and the Crimson Raiders, Maya, as I said, and I believe we also get introduced to the doctor who did experiments on Krieg. And truthfully, I liked all this. I actually think that this was the most work that ever had to be done on a DLC to rectify the biggest issue about Borderlands 3. They sucked at story. And this was the most story that was ever told in a DLC. And I have to say this. I get it, the pandemic happened. But I think the pandemic also is what saved this DLC because of one reason. With how short this DLC really is, that's what makes me like the DLC more. I really got to soak in everything that we did. From the fact of the Crimson Raider raid to even the fact of when we learn about Krieg's origin. It wasn't like we were being bombarded with so much stuff. Yeah, it was like one side activity sometimes, but even still, I was fine with that. Hell, there were some side activities I enjoyed. I liked the fact that we had the gun that made babies. That's still a weird concept to say. But you know what? Fuck it. It's in Krieg's mind, so whatever. Um, Truthfully, there's not much I can really say about this DLC that was crazy. If anything, the best things I can talk about are things that happened in the DLC, from the fact of us using the moon as a weapon. That was a really cool idea. And I also have to say, this I loved. I think that the Crimson Raider part where we're basically going in to deal with, in Krieg's mind, the bad guys, is probably the best way to do bosses. From the fact that when me and SK were doing it, I thought I could fight Krieg. Or not Krieg, Brick. Oh my god! I got the shit kicked out of me. And I immediately got back up and I laughed because I said, that's what a boss is. That's what I want to fight. I want to fight somebody like him. And basically, SK watched as I just basically said, all right, we got to fight this guy seriously. We can't joke around. We knew we had to be serious. And that's what I've been looking for. It was the same thing with Lilith. Lilith, we had to be serious. We couldn't be joking around anymore. And we couldn't be like being silly. No, we had to be serious with this DLC. Yeah, later in the DLC, the bosses kind of fall flat. But again, there's not much you can do with a train. I mean, yeah, it's a train. Plus, Maya was there, so I think she was kind of not helping with that DLC or with that mission. And then the Doctor, he was interesting. It's just he wasn't too much out. The last boss, which I will not say, but he was by far the best because you had to be prepared. If you weren't, you were going to get fucked up by him. But to be honest, that's fine. That's what really helps this DLC. There is so many good bosses in this DLC, and there's so many good items you can get. I mean, I hate to say it, I think we got so much good gear from this DLC, and a lot of the things we kind of changed about our builds are funny. I mean, I am a melee-focused character, and I thought I was going to get a Buzz Axe in this DLC. Be brutally honest. Never got one. But even still, I got some really good guns. I got the fucking gun that creates babies. And I had fun using that because you know what? If I'm not going to shoot, that's going to shoot for me. Even still, other things like that was the fact of me and SK really got to flesh out. And SK's favorite character is Krieg too. So that's why he was really attached to this DLC. He really wanted to see his character fleshed out. And it opens potentials like this. This is where I think they should go with DLCs. Really focus on character development. Really focus on giving characters more life. Because with all of this we learned, we want to meet up with Krieg again. We don't know when that's going to happen, but when we do, we want to see this fool again. Because we now know more about this fool, that we are 100% connected to this man. And that we know, yeah, he's a psycho. Yeah, he's crazy, but he's on our side. We got the big guy on our side this time. So, yeah, I can't say much else about the DLC that I liked. I mean, that's kind of it. I mean, I did like the fucking chess game, but that was kind of awkward. I don't know. That one was weird. Even still, like I said, the worst quality was the side activities where you just kind of like go get a thing or go do this for Krieg or whatever. But again, that's probably a pandemic. There's not much they could do, and I'm not going to fault people for that because you know what? If I was faulting them for the pandemic on that, then I had no right to fault them on the third DLC. The truth is, I think the third DLC had more work put into it, and that's why it came out as bad as it did. Where at least this one, they put in as much effort to just make that story work. And they realized if they put any more work into it, they would ruin the DLC. So that's how much I know they knew they were going to fuck up, and they decided to fix it. So this is where I want to end it, because I want to say, out of all the DLCs so far that are out, this is by far the best DLC because it shows the effort that they can put into not only stories, but also into their game. This is what we used to get from Gearbox. And if I had to say anything, this should be what happens in the next DLC. I want a DLC where we break down more about a character, or maybe we get more about it. Because the last time we got one was with Tiny Tina, and that one was also the best DLC, and happens to be the fourth one too, if you remember. So, you know, just saying. But that's pretty much it. I did want to mention something about this. So this, like I said, will be the last video on Borderlands for right now. When the next DLCs come out, just like how I did here, I will do a mass video about each DLC. That way, I don't overwhelm everybody with content. Plus, also, I really know that my schedule is kind of hard to do stuff. So I do want to mention that The other thing I want to mention also in this video, because probably most people have noticed, I haven't finished the Applin video. That video will be done. I've just been very, very busy, and when it's been time to edit it, I just haven't had time. These were much faster, and I said, fuck it. I'll just do these because screw it. So, yeah, if you guys are looking forward to any other videos, let me know. If you have any ideas, I did want to have some more videos I was planning to do for some reviews from last year, but, you know, pandemic. So if I get more time, I will give some more videos out there. Otherwise, right now, this is the best I can give you for now. And if I have any more videos, they'll come up and down the hole. So keep your subscribes up and keep looking for my videos. Otherwise, continue being Neon Star. Can never stop going.